Now, to read that data that might be passed back by POP, we can go to this place where we called push. And here it's interesting to see that this push method, which we're calling, actually returns a value. It returns a future. Thus far in this course, we haven't used that value, but that's now going to change, because we'll get a future here, which will in the end resolve to the data returned by the screen where we navigate to, so to this map in this case. We'll get a future that contains this map. And it will be a future instead of getting this map right away, because of course when we push this screen onto this stack of screen, we don't immediately get back that data. Instead, the user may interact with that screen and may press the back button after 10 seconds, 10 minutes, or 10 hours. And that's why it's a future. We don't have the return value available immediately, but at some point in the future, once the user did navigate back. So that's why we get a future here. And to use this future in a convenient way, we can add async here between parameter list and curly brace, so that here we can use await, so that in the end then we got the result stored in this result variable. But this will only be set once the user did navigate back, so once this future did resolve. We wait for that to happen here with help of the await keyword, so to say. Therefore, in the next line thereafter, result will be available and will be set to the returned data. Now, right now, the type of that data is dynamic, because here in this file, we don't actually know which data will be returned by this filters screen. Now, since we're the developer of this app, we actually do know, and we do know that it will be of type map, where the keys will be of this filter type and the values will be Boolean. And therefore, we can pass this extra knowledge here to Dart as well by adding angle brackets after push, because push is a so-called generic method. You can tell by these angle brackets which you see here, just as list was a generic type. With list, you could, for example, define which kind of values would be stored in a list. Here, with the angle brackets after this generic push method, you can define which kind of value will be returned by push. Because you can see here that the generic type you define after push, this type T, as it's named here, will be the type of data the future will resolve to in the end. So here we can tell Dart that it will be a map which itself is a generic type, where our keys will be of type filter. And this is the filter enum defined in filters Dart at the top of this screen. It's available in tab start because we are importing filter start here. So that's the key type of this map. The value type will be bool, because we'll have a bunch of Boolean values in this map. With that, indeed, Dart does now know that this result eventually will be such a map that has filter keys and Boolean values. And therefore, for the moment, I'll just print this result to see whether this works as expected. Later, we'll of course do more meaningful things with it. But for the moment, I'll print it, save everything and reload this app. And now if we go to filters and set, let's say, gluten-free and vegan, and I go back, this works. But if I now open my debug console, I also have this log message here where I indeed see that I got a map, you can tell by these curly braces, with my different filter keys, and then true for gluten-free and true for vegan. A bit hard to read, it's cut off, but it's true here, and false for lactose-free and vegetarian, which is exactly what I set. So passing this data from the filters screen to the tabs screen works. Now we just have to make sure that we also use that data here in the tabs screen.